currently 8:50 p.m., probably 9 by now, and the sun is still up. I can hear my neighbors singing, playing some music, and I have to go to bed to avoid any type of excuse that could pop up in my head for when I wake up in the morning. And I want to share with you guys the journal that I wrote today, which touches on purpose, extrinsic motivation versus intrinsic motivation, which basically is a fancy way of saying, so extrinsic motivation is the dopamine you feel when you think about the materialistic, the end goal, the Lambo you want to have, the house you want to buy your parents. And the problem with extrinsic motivation is, as y'all probably have noticed, it's very short lasting, and it is very deceiving. Because although you feel that joy, you feel that motivation, the moment you open up your laptop to actually do the research, to actually do the work that you know you have to, that motivation fades completely gone. And then all of a sudden you see yourself trying to watch another Iman Gadzhi video to, motivate yourself again. And you're saying, oh, dude, I just don't have enough motivation. But the problem is, and you know that deep down as well, if you've gone through this, is you have not linked your dopamine to a system of fulfillment where you derive joy and basically joy from the work that you're doing. That's called intrinsic motivation. And I want to read you guys the journal that I wrote today, which touches on that really well. Perpetual falling. Do I not want it bad enough? Is it the contrast that I'm missing? But I know that the truth is I'm avoiding what I know to do. Relentless and unapologetic. That's what I have to become. I have to become absolute. In just 3 months, I have rent to pay. And for those who don't know, I'm moving out of my parents' house in 3 months, starting September. How many defeats, how many restless nights will it take for me to get over it? My mind can and will adapt to your pain. And if you make the mistake of waiting until that point comes where you're sick and tired and you actually want to make the change, you will realize that making a change is and will always be in your ability alone. Waiting for yourself to be sick and tired of your situation will lead you to understand how much greater pain your mind can face without breaking. And then I wrote my signature that I usually write just to end the paragraph. And what I want to touch on today is if you guys are in a situation where you're waiting for motivation, you're waiting for something to happen, you're waiting for a reason to act, and I completely understand that mentality because I have gone through that so many times, and I still catch myself being, things will fall into place. I might not have what I want today, I might not have the discipline that I want today, but in 3 years it will be all solved. And the problem with the mentality is, and the problem with what that basically signals is a weak mentality, because if you want an indicator to see how great somebody's mentality is, just look at how much they reflect the problems and the situations that they're facing upon themselves. How much do they talk about themselves versus how much do they reflect the issue back upon the world? When they can't wake up early, is it that they blame the fact that they don't have enough willpower? Or is it the fact that they blame they didn't have enough rest because, their bed was uncomfortable and it was hot and whatnot? Your body and your mind can endure way more pain than you can. Y'all probably know this, and this sounds very positive and optimistic, but it also goes the other way. There's the other side of the coin. You know how the 20-30-year-old dude who starts working at Walmart or some shop that he's not happy with, and he has these goals, and 5 years pass and he's been playing video games, so he didn't really care. He thinks about making a change, but he still wants to get a new dog and has these goals, and all of a sudden this guy turns 30, then he turns 40, 50, 60, and he's still working at the same shop, no skills learned, no nothing, and his complete dreams have gone to waste. And this isn't just a hypothetical example. This is the situation that most modern people face. We are in the generation where we have the most ever opportunities, the most ways to make money, the most ways to achieve our goals in most circumstances. Of course, I'm not talking about the kid in Yemen who was born recently and lost both his limbs and, can't make it out of the country. I'm talking to people who have access to internet like you, who can watch it and who have the ability and the time to work and to learn. If you're watching this video, I am assuming that you clicked here to learn, to change yourself, to become something that you're not. And what that reflects back upon is, if you're waiting for yourself to be sick and tired and, to just take in as much pain as you can to finally explode and be like, have this climax that you see in the movies where the main character just gets sick and tired and changes his life, it will never ever happen to you. I promise you. You might not believe me. You might think, oh, dude, no, I know, I'm almost there. I just need a small click. I understand because I feel the same way and I felt the same way. But every pain you feel, if you're like, oh, I'm not going to change now because I actually need this one last push to make it happen. I need this one last push to get rid of the surface that's friction. I've probably about 20 videos ago, I've made a video explaining how the hardest point to act is the start. And physics is a perfect example of it. I don't care if you've studied physics, if you're a high school dropout, or if you have a PhD in that. I don't care. But I would need you guys to understand, it's always hardest if you want to roll an obstacle and, make it roll, basically roll like a snowball where it increases. The hardest ever point is to start, because literally in physics, and this is an actual phenomena, is objects that are not moving are usually interlocked with other atoms, okay? And the hardest point of your journey is going to be to start rolling your ball. Most people who actually started rolling their balls, if their purpose is strong enough, they will never stop. Because you guys probably know, if you're pushing a heavy box out of the ground, you want to push it a couple of meters, it's always the hardest when you're first pushing. Initially, you need that extra push to keep it going. But once it actually starts sliding, and once it's not interlocked anymore and just keeps going like this, imagine it's just perpetually rolling, that's actually the easy part. You all think of your journey as this one thing that it's like, oh, this is the point I have to climb to, and you have to look up, so you're like, oh, dude, I have too much of a journey, I don't want to start. That's not how it works. The point that you're at right now, the most essential thing for you to do is not 50 steps along the time. It's more about just getting started, taking that next step, because that's the most important thing to make money, to achieve that end goal of yours, to get fit, is actually getting up now in this moment. If you're watching this video and you feel like you can do that, just click off. I don't need you guys to watch this for the sake of motivation and whatnot. I am just journaling my thoughts and journaling the progress that I'm making mentally and in terms of discipline, because I want to document my journey to achieving an absolute unbreakable mindset, which I'm getting closer to achieve. And if you simply wait for something to happen, if you wait for that one click, like I said, if you wait for that one push to happen, you will realize that your body can always, no matter how much pain you tolerate, you will always be able to tolerate more. You have to be the one, no matter how sick and tired you are, or no matter how fine you are with your situation, you are the one who has to change. You guys probably know this one kid who's always been popular, and he's always had a good life, he's always looked good, and on top of that, he also starts making money. So you're like, dude, this guy doesn't struggle about anything. You do not necessarily have to be sick and tired to achieve everything. Yes, that makes it much easier, because then you'll have this extra push. Then you will have this extra dopamine reset. where you don't care about playing video games anymore. You don't care about doing this alcohol or smoking weed anymore. I understand, but life is not about what you deserve. Life is about what you make of it. No matter how much you think you still need this pain to keep going, no matter what you think you're missing, the stars will never align. And you've probably heard this before and you've never acted upon it other than liking that Instagram post, but the stars will never align. Your situation will never be better. And until you stop making these excuses, you will never get anywhere. You know, just yesterday morning, I believe it was, I caught myself thinking, I haven't full on mastered my discipline yet. I'm still working on it, but I'm sure in a year, 2 years, 3 years, it will be completely gone. That is an absolute loser mentality. I caught myself thinking, dude, what am I even saying? Like, I'm just pushing the issue and the responsibility to future me, saying, oh, you know, it's fine. You should not take the weight off your shoulders if that means that you get to do the work later. Yes, in a year, 2 years, if I take it slower, I might or might not achieve impeccable discipline regardless. Even if I have the time, even if I have a roof above my head, even if I get to have food until that time, even if I hit the gym. That's not what the point is. The point is about literally loading as much weight as you can on yourself and keep walking. There's two problems that people do. One, they do not load enough weight and run super fast and get why they're having no progress in the end. Or two, they overload themselves with weight, and because they have no purpose and willpower, they do not have that will to keep walking with the heavy weight on them. Never ever hold back on being tough with yourself. If you have laundry that you have to do and you know you're gonna sleep, but you know that laundry can wait till tomorrow, and tomorrow comes and you will decide to go to work, you're like, I can wait. That's an absolute weakness. It might sound extreme. It might sound like, oh, dude, you know, white people problems. But anything you do, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you see, you know, your textbook just laying around, just put it back in your bag. If you see your bed hasn't been made, I don't think there's been a single video where my bed isn't made. And I don't make it before the videos just to make my room look tidy, okay? There's probably 1 or 2 things here that I should tidy up, okay? You have to be tough on yourself because how you do anything is how you do everything. Y'all probably heard the quote or some Navy SEAL saying, you know, it all starts with making your bed. And you're like, dude, come on, making your bed does not give me $1 million. I have way greater goals than that. He doesn't understand what I'm saying, right? That's not what the point is. The point is when you do small things and you know deep down that you are the man who does the thing regardless, you engrave that in your mentality. And by the way, I've said this before, you engrave things within yourself, not by shouting some affirmation, like, oh, journaling, because that's what I used to do. 2022, I used to journal, I used to be like, I am the person, I can. And then I was like, you know, it sounds a bit cringe to say almost, but it actually gave me motivation. But that's not what it is because it's not sustainable. What you guys actually have to do is let yourself ingrain that personality, that identity through the actions that you do. And it might be something small. Maybe I have some medicine laying around, some vitamin D. Put it back into its shelf. Make your desk more tidier. And then guess what? By doing that, you're literally telling yourself and signaling your mind, dude, I'm a pretty tidy person. I'm pretty organized. I do what I tell myself to do. And when it's time to sit on the desk, who do you think is going to be more motivated? Who do you think is going to be more likely to sit down and work harder? The guy who thinks he's organized, the guy who thinks he does what he says, or the guy who's like, oh, I don't care, it's not that important anyway to me. Y'all know the reason. You actually know the right thing to do. We all know the right thing to do. Do you want to get rich, you want to retire your parents, you know that you need to sit down and learn marketing that you told yourself you would study. You know you have to sit down and code because you want to become a website designer or Fiverr and build your own business or whatever. You know exactly what to do. What we fall, the mistakes that we do is we fall into the trap of thinking, oh, but let me find the best thing to do. Let me just wait and I find the best thing to do and then I'll do it. I'm building a course right now, right? And for me, it's very easy to think, oh no, but I first want to see the exact structure and the exact models that I want to implement into the thing before I start recording. No, what the best thing for me to do is do what I know to do without overanalyzing, maybe start presenting, start recording myself and doing the presentation that I told myself I would do. If it's not good enough, reset the recording, do the recording again. You all are trying to be so efficient and effective and 100% moving towards the right goal, and y'all don't move at all. That's the problem. That's not how your mind works. You have to understand truly how your mind works. It's not 2 + 2 is 4 sometimes, because there's so many parameters that you have to consider, so many damn boundaries. And for your mind, people do, I've already explained this in the video, but people do things for 2 reasons. Number 1 is they do it to get to a point. But the number 2, which many people ignore that they should be doing, is doing something to become the person who can. Do your bed always. Maybe, even if you don't care about it, take the dust, maybe clean the dust in your room once a day. Not because you're not gonna, I know you're not avoiding some big cancer case, or you're not, it's not changing your life. I understand, but the person who actually sticks to his habits, the person who sticks to the things he knows he has to do, is going to be way stronger, build way more discipline, and be way more efficient. So regarding turning that purpose, that extrinsic motivation to intrinsic motivation, because I've literally talked about so many things today, and I do that a lot, is take the action. You might not be ready. You might see someone being more ready than you. You might see your parents having an argument. They might having a divorce. You might be waiting for your relationship to end because you're, breaking up with the person that you've been with. I do not care, and it does not make a difference to me. Be relentless and unapologetic, like I wrote it down and I read it out to you. Be relentless and unapologetic. I don't care if your girlfriend's waiting for you. I don't care if you think you're sad because your mom's... Look, I'm a relatively emotional person because I've been brought up that way, okay? And I use that passion that I get and the drive that I get, although many people find it obnoxious. I notice it when I talk like this to my friends, and they're like, they don't relate to that. They don't feel the same energy for them. If you don't have the drive like that, I will come off as obnoxious. Why is that guy talking? You'll see maybe in my comments every couple of videos some dude being like, it's not that deep, bro. Come on. Why are you being a cringe lord or something like that? It's because they do not feel the same urgency or the same necessity. If you feel the same way, you don't have to show it to people. I don't show my drive to my friends anymore because although they are my friends, they do not feel the same way. And I understand that they sometimes get annoyed or they sometimes do not really understand. That is completely okay. Use that emotion, use that feeling to be completely unapologetic when conquering your dreams, conquering something. The whole point of humans and life is evolution. Some people are going to be like, oh, I've thought about life so much that I don't have a meaning. If they think life is meaningless, then they truly have not thought deep enough, because nihilism is nothing but a stone in the way. And you might think you've come to the end because you're facing a wall of nihilism and you're like, dude, nothing makes sense. I'm gonna die anyway, so might as well smoke weed, do whatever makes me happy. But that does not make you happy. The point of humans living is evolution. You have to evolve. You have to bring yourself. You have to level up in an area that truly means something to you. And if you don't have an area that means something to you, just take a day off. Truly isolate yourself from all these things that take up your headspace and move forward. That's the only way you will achieve purpose. That's the only way where the actions that you commit to will mean something to you.